London, the capital city of the UK. I've come to London to a back street where, even though the real estate in London's still really, really high, there are still little pockets of semi-derelict garages. And the garage in question that I'm interested in is just here. Because in here is a car which has been in the same family from new, and we think it hasn't been out of here since maybe the early 80s. I'll give you a clue. It is an old Ford, and the slogan on the advert was, "The car you always promised yourself." You might know what I'm talking about. So this is a barn find edition of The Late Break Show, and I'm Jonny Smith. So Panos, thank you so much for inviting me to North London. I used to live not that far away from here. It's like a distant memory now. But the car in here, this is your car or someone in your family's car?
So this is my car, and I actually purchased it from my godmother. She purchased it brand new in 1972, and I got it from her in 1983.
Wow, you got it in 1983, so you bought it 40 years ago.
Yeah, yeah.
Did you actually drive it?
Yeah, I was driving it for a few years.
Yeah.
And then pretty much we put it in here, and it's been here ever since.
Bloody hell. It's in here ever since, sat there ever since. Can we have a look?
Yeah.
We'll carry on chatting, because I know you said the door works. The car you always promised yourself. It's a Mk1 Capri. Look at that. It's a beautiful colour.
Yeah.
Right. Up with the roller shutter. Gosh. So it really has sat here for a long time. You haven't, when Panos got in touch with The Late Break Show, I did say, please don't touch it. And sure enough, you haven't, which is great. This was your godmother's car, 72 Capri from new. Is it a 1.6?
1.6 automatic.
It's an auto.
Yeah.
So she lived in London as well?
She lived in Holloway on Mercer's Road.
Okay.
Yeah.
So auto would have been appropriate for a city Capri driver.
Yeah.
This is my first Capri barn find on the show.
Wow.
Which is amazing given how popular they are. And it's great that we're doing a Mk1 as our first one. So what made you put it in here then? What, did it break down?
No.
No?
It didn't break down. It's just I bought, I had a Triumph Stag.
Yeah.
And I also had as my weekend car, and I had a Sierra as an everyday car.
Yeah.
But I used to work in the city, so I ended up riding a bike to go to work.
Yes, well, this is exactly what I did when I lived here.
Right. And so we just put it in here, and it was just here, and it's just been here ever since.
Oh my gosh. So we don't really know the condition of it, I guess. It's gradually become a storeroom for mattresses. We get this a lot on the show. People just put stuff on it.
Yeah.
It's on axle stands, I think I see at the back.
Yeah,
is that right?
On the back.
Okay, so it's on axle stands at the back. Front tyres are clearly pretty flat. The Mk1 Capri, launched in '69, Brussels Motor Show, and it ran till '74 when the Mk2 Capri became a hatchback. So the first one was a true coupe, the second one was a hatchback, because it was the oil crisis era and they wanted to make it more family car orientated. But basically, this was launched as Europe's answer to the Mustang. But it used a Mk2 Cortina running gear. So the chassis is a Mk2 Cortina with a more muscle car-y body on it. And then in '74, just as the production was ending for these, they did the race homologation version, the 3100 RS, which is probably now the most collectible Capri. But very, very, I love this style of I can't see them because it's dark back there, but you've got these sort of like fake intakes on the rear quarter panel that were very muscle car era. This is a dry garage.
Yeah.
That much we know. I don't know what the story is with all of the military coats above our heads, but
It's just my brother-in-law was using the garage, and he was a panel beater and a sprayer and fixed cars, but he was using this garage to actually store this stuff. He used to buy army surplus and sell it.
Oh, that's all the military stuff, right? Okay.
He passed away in 2011, so this stuff has been here since before then.
I've had a quick look around the back. There's a lot of stuff. So before we show you, we thought we'd just clear a bit of space around the Capri. Then I can get it off the axle stands, pump the tyres up and stuff. All right, so that's what we do. Just stop for a quick coffee break, that's all. We're one mattress away from seeing the vinyl roof. I do love a vinyl roof. So the car looks a lot better now. Now we can see round it there.
Yeah.
It's such a cool colour.
Yeah.
So has this car ever been repainted, repaired? Do you know?
It's been repainted. So when we lift the bonnet, you'll see the original colour. It's slightly different. It was green again, slightly different.
Yeah.
And yeah, we'll see it in a moment. And it has a repair. It was hit on the back quarter when my godmother had it. I remember she told me.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
She got hit by somebody on the corner?
Yeah, on the rear quarter. She was sideswiped.
Oh.
And I was hit by an XR3i right here. Really nice guy in Mile End. He tore out of a side street, hit me, got down, apologized, said, I just bought this car, I thought it was faster, I thought I'd be able to pull out in front of you, and I'm really sorry. And that was like the easiest insurance claim I ever had.
And down here, I found a plastic pigeon. I was really scared at first that it was real, but I realised it's not.
My brother-in-law was into hunting as well.
Ah, okay. But you said, so the front bumper's just down there, and you don't know why the front bumper's not on it. How weird. It looks like the number plate's just been sort of like intentionally just put at a jaunty angle. Oh, there we go. Oh, now. It's got an aftermarket twin choke carb on it.
Yeah, that's the only thing I put on as aftermarket.
A Nicky. Oh, I remember the Nicky carb with a visible float bowl. Wow, a Nicky twin choke. But if you look at the structure of the car, like these chassis legs and the inner wings, this looks really good.
Yeah.
I mean, it's comical, isn't it? How much space.
Yeah.
The Mk1 Capri, you could get engines from 1.3 to 3 litre and loads in between. They did a V4, they did the V6, they did the straight 4. This is the 1600 Kent. Did the 2 litre Pinto. There's so many different engine options. And yeah, it's cool. The fact it's been parked in here all these years has probably done it favours, although, as we are about to find out, somebody's decided to fill the interior with quilts and duvets, and I'm worried that the mice and the rats might have had a festival in there, but we'll see. So we'll come back to this. That's definitely, yeah, an ice cream parasol, brilliant. Look, a CNA bag. That's a CNA bag.
And CNA are not around anymore.
No,
right?
I haven't seen a CNA bag.
Oh my God, that's me with my ex-wife.
Really, that's you?
Yeah.
You must show that to the camera. Just got to take a call.
You could send a fax as well, right?
Yeah, I'm sending a fax at the same time as taking the call. Because it's a combined fax, copier, telephone and digital answering machine, which would have been worth quite a lot of money at the time. I'm starting to see the whole interior finally now. I've always liked Capri back seats because they're totally separate buckets with an armrest. Yeah. And the headlining, I know you had some guy cut a hole in the roof for your 80s sunroof, but the headlining looks pretty good.
Yeah.
And that cool 3-spoke steering wheel. What's really weird about the Capri to me is that they invented it to be our European Mustang, but yet they launched it in North America in 1970, and they sold 500,000 of these in North America. So you didn't just have to buy a Mustang, you could buy, and I think probably maybe it was a good idea with regards to fuel shortages in the early 70s, as maybe it started selling well as a result of that. I don't know, but
the same spec.
They were slightly different spec, and I think they were badged as a Mercury Capri, not a Ford Capri. And nowadays, I don't know how desirable they are in the States, but it was only the Mark 1 that was sold. Look, I've got there's a nice Cypriot grill badge.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Oh my God.
That needs to go back on.
The colours match as well.
The colours, I was just thinking the same thing. You've totally got to put that back on. Yeah, of course I'll subscribe. Yeah, I'll comment on the video if that's what you want. Yeah, we can do that. Yeah, if you want to become a Patreon of the channel, you can do that. Yeah, you can. From as little as £1 a month. It's true. Yeah, thanks for letting me know that. Thanks, bye. Key's been left in the boot. And it's full of, again, army surplus. German army jumpers. Just dozens of them. Dozens and dozens and dozens of German jumpers. I'm going to be here for some time, so probably want to fast forward this bit. There is a connection, a historical connection between the Mark 1 Capri and Germany. As you probably know, Ford of Germany in Cologne, been in business for years, but this was a collaboration between Ford Germany and Ford UK. And apparently the Mark 1 Capri project cost £20 million. And it was going to be called the Colt, because the Mustang, Colt, another name for a horse, but Mitsubishi took them to court, Ford lost, so the Ford had to be called a Capri, not a Colt. In fact, I did a barn find on a Colt. I'm sure it was a Mitsubishi Colt, or a Colt Sapporo. Yes, Colt Sapporo. I'll put a link above my head. That was so professionally done. So professional. So it's time to crack on and see if we can get the engine to turn over. Panos hasn't even attempted this in decades. The old 1600 Kent engine is a very simple engine, luckily, and access is incredible. I've never worked on a Capri, but I've worked on numerous other Fords, and the thing about Fords was parts interchangeability was amazing. And so there's a lot of relatable stuff here, and it really is all here. It's pretty solid, actually. This aftermarket carb, I don't know much about Nicky carbs, but I know they were fitted to numerous cars. But first of all, like always, take the plugs out, put a little bit of lube down the bores, and then see if the engine's seized by maybe spinning it over with the plugs out. I have seen some rodent droppings on the inner wings up there, but no sign of any of the cables or hoses from being chewed, which is really good. Right, these are coming out really nicely, which is such a pleasure. Such a pleasure. Really, the Capri was killed off by the hot hatch. They looked so old compared to XR3s, RS Turbos, Sierra Cosworth. You know, that was why the car got killed. The coupe got killed, basically. Right, plugs are out. And they all look really good. They are a good colour. So as usual, down the plug holes, I'm either going to spray a bit of normal oil or a bit of penetrant like WD-40. And that's just to, when I try and turn the engine over, just ascertain whether or not it's seized. Oil is up to the mark. Right, just give these plugs a little clean up. Make sure the contacts are bright. Just degrease them, and then... But we'll leave them out when we do the first turnover of the car. If you have a car that you think is of interest for a barn find for me to come and visit, in a garage, out on a driveway, in a hedge, maybe it's got an amazing backstory, maybe it's a beautiful survivor car, let me know. Email us, there's a description, a link in the description. Email us, give us some photos, give us a location and a backstory, always appreciated. I've just noticed a car alarm is there and there's a switch there, but Panos did say he did it back in the 80s, but he thinks he disconnected it. We'll find out in a bit when I put a new bloody battery on it. And the fleece is on. The fleece is on. The fleece is on. I'll get this tape off. Always a bit nervous and excited at this moment where I've got no idea if the engine's dead, wiring's dead, it's going to be seized. There's all kinds of variations to this experiment. I always disconnect the fuel line before I go for an initial turnover because I don't want to drag. I mean, we don't know if the fuel pump down there works anyway, but what you desperately don't want to do is drag old fuel, sludgy fuel through the whole system, because once you do that, you've opened a complete can of worms then. What's quite cool about these aftermarket Nicky carbs is this window, the float bowl window, so you can see when this has got fuel in it or not. There's a little level there. See that black float, which will be quite a good reference. That's assuming this carburetor works at all, but I'm going to assume it does. I'm not going to put the old one back on now. Ah, here we go. Okay, it was that key. It's just the barrel was a bit seized, but I've lubed the barrel and now it's okay. So I've got 2 dash lights. Should we try it? See if it spins? No. No. Sometimes it can be the inhibitor switch on the auto box. Yeah, the lights are just fading when I go to turn them, to turn the ignition. So that means there's another problem at the starter end. You might remember on an earlier barn find I did of an Escort Mexico, another green Ford, I had the same issue with the starter motor solenoid on these Fords is separate to the starter motor. I don't know what's gone on there, but I've bridged across this and I've got a clack of the starter motor and a quick turnover. I'll do that again, just using a piece of wire to bridge it, just to convince you, the viewers, that I haven't made up what I've just said. Here we go. You should get a turning over of the engine any second now. It's quite a fiddle because it's brake master cylinder's in the way, and so's the... All right. So we know it's not seized, which is really good. And we're getting a strong spark from the points, which pleases me immensely. So what I might do, I might just clean the points quickly with some contact cleaner and then and a bit of emery cloth, and then we know that the ignition is pretty good on this car. So then I can put those plugs back in now, and then we introduce fuel. So tell me a bit more about your godmother, who owned this car from new.
She came over to England before the Second World War, and she was. I remember stories of her being down in the air raid shelters. Well, not in the air raid shelters, actually in the underground stations, where they were using as air raid shelters.
Yeah.
And eventually, she actually was helping some lady there, and she eventually married her son.
Wow.
She ended up getting divorced, but she was. She actually had a coat factory. She actually made coats off of Bond Street, and she was always in the rag trade with making buttons and stuff like that.
Right, which is where you first saw this car.
Yeah.
Outside the button factory.
Right.
That she owned.
Yeah. Do you want me to help pump up the tyre?
Listen, Panos, if you want to pump the tyres up, I'm not going to stop you. It's something I know I've got to do, and I'm just focusing on the engine work. But if you want to do it, pal,
no problem.
I've got a seriously slow analog pump, but you're a fit man. So I'm going to say you're not going to find that a problem. I enjoy watching other people doing that because it's normally me that does that.
That's the least I can do.
So I've put the plugs in and I still can't get it to turn over on the key, but I'll just bridge it again. So this is plugs in, no fuel, at compression, and let's see what we get. Doesn't that sound nice? That sounds good.
I haven't heard that sound for years.
No, that sounds happy. I just want to check, got one plug back out again, just for peace of mind, to see if I'm getting a spark there. No, I'm not getting a spark there. Yeah, bugger. It's turning over beautifully though. So I'm re-cleaning the points. I've phoned my brother, the Oracle. We've established that we're getting voltage to the points, which is why that little bulb lit up. So I just think there might be a bit more dirt on the points, so I'm going to just do that. Meanwhile, the sun is going down, and I just want to make sure these are as clean as they can possibly be. And I'm going to spray a bit of contact cleaner in there. Just using a bit of card for the last bit, because I have already used an abrasive twice. I don't think they need any more abrasive. Don't know if you can hear it.
Yeah.
There?
Yeah.
That's a strong spark. Or blow me down with a feather. So it's just very, very dirty points. Third time lucky. So I'm going to quickly put that back on, that last plug back in. And then we should have a spark at the plug, and then we can do the fuel. And hopefully then, if the carburettor's behaving, the can of hope will let it run. Let's see. Just changed plan. Really want to get the car outside to show you it. It's been on these axle stands for goodness knows how long, and it's seized. So I'm trying to quickly unseize the brakes so we can get it outside. That's what we'd like to do. I'm trying to get... Oh. Okay. Now that we've got the Capri out, I love the profile of this window. It's so iconic, this oval shape, which sort of mimics the oval of the Ford badge, even though the oval Ford badge isn't on this. And then you've got the fuel filler that's also covered in vinyl, and the lovely piece of trim which goes around the vinyl roof there. That, in combination with these faux vents, are sort of muscle car era vents, when all the muscle cars in America had lots of artificial lumps and bumps and fake vents, but it was the fashion. Love that. I think it's great. I think it's great. I mean, I know that we've lost the light now, but we've managed to get it out and have a look at it, and I think the chassis is really good. The inner wings are really good. It's had some body repair where it's had accidents, a couple of minor accidents, but I think for a Mk1 Capri, it's pretty good. Okay, now. Yeah. That's it. Good, good. That's it. Right, you might notice it's got dark, so there might be a bit of a jump in continuity, and the reason for that is because I've been trying to troubleshoot the same issue for quite a long time, and it looks very samey, so we haven't filmed all of it, and it's properly wrecking my head. I've been on the phone to my brother about 6 times, but I think we have a solution for why we had a spark, then we don't have a spark, then we had a bit of a spark, and then we don't have a spark, and it's because, well, I think, inside the distributor cap, the wire on the condenser had some tape on it. I couldn't see when it was light that there was actually a damaged part of the insulation. I couldn't see it. From this angle, you can't see it. But when I look down, straight down from between this hole and the manifold, I can see there's a bit of damage. And my brother thinks that's been earthing inside the casing of the distributor and therefore not sending the 12 volts to where it needs to send it to. So if we repair that, should get a spark where we want a spark, and then I might have some chance of starting the car. But I am so tired and I'm so mentally worn out from trying to troubleshoot this. I'm at the peak of my mechanical understanding. If that doesn't work, then I can't get this Capri to run today. It's one of those situations where if I had a spare set of points, condenser, plugs, distributor cap, rotor arm, etc., yes, I probably could. But we've got kind of two problems here, remember, because it doesn't start on the ignition key. So I've already had to bypass that. And then we've got a secondary problem here. So I know when you sit at home and you shout at the TV because Johnny's not doing it right, well, when you encounter these barn finds, cars that have been sat for decades, you never really know what you're going to get. I'm going to shut up and I'm going to try and mend that. Right, ignition on, final attempt to get a spark. And this is really, I've said this a couple of times, this really is the final attempt. I've repaired that issue. Will I get a spark at that plug? No. No. I hate to give up and not have a successful fire up, but I'm afraid this is one of those. It's really frustrating. We've tried as many things as we can. The bottom line is it has several problems and it needs a couple of crucial new parts like points and condenser and probably rotor arm. But there's some good parts to this car, obviously a lot of them. It's really great to have it back on its wheels, unseize the brakes. It's a very solid car where it matters. And we know it's going to ride again. Panos is definitely going to get this car back on the road. And it's great because it's MOT exempt, it's tax exempt, it's ULEZ exempt, I think, London congestion charge exempt. So it can live on in the city where it was kind of live forever. And that's going to be really good. It just annoys me that I couldn't quite get it to spark consistently and therefore no point in trying to make it run. So I hope you've enjoyed this episode of the Late Break Show. As I said before, if you know of a car that's of interest, that's outside, inside, in a barn, not in a barn, let me know. Send pictures, location and the backstory to the email in the description. And if you haven't already subscribed to the channel, I would love you to subscribe. And so would my fleece, the BFF. Thanks.